What is going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven. You didn't think I was going to go all week without talking baseball, did you? We have a nice little mid-season recap and prediction show for you. That's right. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're a baseball fan, you're going to love this video because we're going to talk about things that have happened. We're going to give you some best future bets now that we're at the mid-season point. Give you some odds. Got lots to talk about. It's going to be a ton of fun. Hopefully, you guys can comment below to let us know what you guys think and some good bets that you have at the middle of the season. Can't believe we're already halfway through. But before we dive in, smash that like button, guys. Keep subscribing. We are getting so close to 5,000 subscribers. It's been a heck of a ride this baseball season, and it's only halfway done, baby. I am excited, and I can't wait to see how this season ends. So, here's what we're going to talk about in this video because that's what you guys want to know. We're going to talk about some surprise teams and then let you know if they're legit or if it's just kind of a facade, a fake, you know what I'm saying. I don't know words very well, apparently. And then we're going to talk about some disappointing teams, see if they can turn around, see if their season's lost or anything like that. So we got about three or four on each one, so that's going to be fun to talk about. Then we're going to go over the MVP race and give you a best bet on that. And then we're going to give you the Cy Young. That's going to be a great conversation because the AL and NL Cy Young, it's got a lot of people in the mix. There's no big favorite in either league. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then we're going to end it. I got three best future bets that I really love for the second half of the season. We're going to go over the odds and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a ton of fun. I'm going to try to keep it as short and simple as I can. But before we dive into the surprise teams, I have a quick stat for you. It's crazy. I know, stat nerd, weird. The top six payrolls in Major League Baseball are a combined 278 and 262 this year. That's a 51.4% winning percentage. That's wild. Just barely over 500, pretty much. The bottom six payrolls in Major League Baseball, 273 and 272 for a 50.1% winning percentage. So it's a little worse, but let's just take out the A's because they absolutely they're 25 and 67, guys. They're absolutely horrendous. The winning percentage for the other bottom five payrolls in the league is a 50. It has a 54.7% winning percentage. I thought I wrote the record. I guess I don't. They have a 54.7% winning percentage, way better than the top six payrolls. That is absolutely crazy to me. Top six include the Mets, Yankees, Padres, Phillies, Dodgers, and Angels. The bottom six, the Reds, Guardians, Rays, Pirates, Orioles, and then the A's. It's just crazy, guys. Spending big money does not win you ball games, as you can tell, especially when you spend it on stupid players like some of these teams are doing. But we'll get to that, so don't you worry. But anyways, I just want to throw that out there. In baseball, it's just huge. It's all about scouting. You got to build within. You got to have your own guys. You can't just give people like Albert Pujols $300 million and all that kind of stuff. Angels are good at giving big contracts away. But anyways, that's the deal. I just love talking baseball, so let's get into it. Let's start with the first surprise team. It is the Cincinnati Reds. That's right. The Reds 50 and 41 on the season, okay? But here's the deal with the Reds. By the way, first of all, they have a one-game lead on the Brewers right now. I didn't think this was going to happen, but they are so fun to watch. 23 and 8 since calling up Ellie De La Cruz. 23 and 8. That's talk about a spark plug. Let's talk about their bullpen real quick. 3.86 ERA, but they do have the 28th best Sierra and XFIP, which are ERA predictors in the future. So I do expect some negative regression, unfortunately, for their bullpen. They do need to add an arm, in my opinion. Starters, this is where it just gets bad. They have the 28th best ERA at 5.69. And that's all their starters combined. 22nd best Sierra at 4.55. So a little positive regression, but they're still just not very good. They starters, they need help. Let's just say that. Andrew Abbott has been just huge for them. You think they wish they had Luis Castillo back? Yeah, thank you, because the Mariners need him. But here's the deal with them. We all know they suck at pitching. Suck might be a hard word. I know you Reds fans might not like that, but hitting, guys, they have six guys hitting 270 or higher. As a Mariners fan, that's just mind boggling to me because I think we have one guy. They have the eighth best WRC plus since May 1st and the fifth best OPS since May 1st. So here's my question: can they win the division? Are the Reds for real? That's what a lot of people are asking. I don't think they can keep up this pace, this 23 and 8 pace since calling up Dela Cruz. But the only reason I'll say they are legit is because, guys, The division's absolutely freaking awful. I mean, they're competing against the Brewers. The Pirates and Cubs and Cardinals are toast. It's them and the Brewers. So, yes, the Reds have weaknesses. If they have, I don't know exactly how deep their farm system is, but if they have some guys that won't sacrifice their future and they can pick up an arm, a starting pitcher, it would be huge for them because they need help, especially in the starting rotation. Because Andrew Abbott, he's a rookie. He just struggled in his last start, but other than that, he's been dominant. So, can you just trust him and nobody else? Because you know who else you got. You got Dreamweaver. That's right. He needs to go. He absolutely needs to go. They need some help. I know Nick Lodolo is hurt. He was kind of hit and miss, anyways. But in my opinion, the Reds have an absolutely ridiculously bright future. They do. If you're a Reds fan, you have got to be jacked up about this team. For this year, yeah, they could. They could possibly sneak into a wild card. They could win this division. But man, I really hope they add a pitcher and really go for it this year. Not don't sacrifice your whole future or anything like that. But you got guys like McLean, Friedel. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Will Benson, who's been hitting the ball pretty well. De La Cruz, Steer, and you got Tyler Stevenson at catcher. But they have five, I think it was, six guys, 25 years old or younger. Pretty impressive. Pretty awesome. So, yes, I think they have a good shot at winning the division, but I really hope they add a starter. We will find out. But that's the first surprise team. Let's move on to the next surprise team and see who that is. The Miami Marlins. That is right. What a surprise team they are. Holy cow. 53-39 on the season. They're 8.5 games back of the division, but it's the Braves. What are you going to do? They do hold down the first wild card spot right now. Um, I'll tell you what exactly has surprised me. It's the freaking hitting. Like, I just thought this team was going to be awful hitting the ball, and they kind of were to start the season. But they have a decent little lineup at the top. We got Soler, which he's showing his power. De La Cruz, not Ellie. That would be Brian this time. Luis Arias, we all know. We talk about him all the time, chasing 400. Garrett Cooper's shown some good pop. It's not a bad top of the order. And that's all you kind of needed as the Marlins. Because bullpen, 11th best bullpen ERA, 4.11. 8th best Sierra, 3.66. So it's a legit. And the starters, 11th best ERA at 4.04 and the third best Sierra at 3.88. So, I mean, their starters have been legit, and it starts with Jesus Lazardo. Holy crap, guys. He's in the Cy Young conversation at least this year. He's a lefty that's just really been impressive. And the big part for me with the Marlins is they need Sandy Alcantara to really show his Cy Young form. He has done a little better lately. I think he can slowly turn the corner and at least get close to that. That would be huge to have Lazardo and him in their rotation if they can keep hitting the ball. I don't know if they can keep this up with their offense the whole time, but are they legit? They absolutely are. Because if you think about the teams they're competing with, like the Phillies, and other teams, the Padres aren't even there. They're farther down, but the whole Central's terrible in the NL. So I mean, they don't have a lot to compete with, so they have no chance at division. But they do have a chance at the wild card spot. But like I said, they're going to need Alcantara to step it up, and they're going to need this hitting to stay like this. Because if Soler, De La Cruz, any of these guys get hurt or go down, they have a thin lineup. So they are carried by the top of this order. And then you got Jazz Chisholm, who cannot stay healthy right now. Maybe the MLB, the show curse, probably. But anyway, so they got a chance. They are very surprising. They do play well. They play solid. They don't beat themselves too much. But I mentioned this in another video. 1-9 versus the Braves, which means they are 52-30 versus the rest of the MLB. I mean, guys, that's crazy. 52-30. That is a legit team. So you know what? I don't mind them. If you ask me if they're legit and have a chance to make the playoffs, absolutely. I don't think they're a fluke or anything. They got a lot of good pitchers in the bullpen. They got a few in the starting rotation, as you can tell by that ERA. And as long as they can keep hitting, they got a chance. So that second surprise team is the Marlins. Now the third surprise team is the Arizona Diamondbacks. That is right, 52-39 on the season. They're pretty much tied with the Dodgers. I think it's percentage points, but they're a good young team. There's some things that they do that I don't think everyone is aware of. So we'll talk about that in just a second. But their bullpen, 15th best ERA, with a 4 ERA on the dot. It's something that they need. If they're going to go for it this year a little bit, they need to add a bullpen arm. 10th best Sierra at 3.85, so not bad. Starters. Here's the deal with their starters. Overall, they're 22nd in ERA, 24th in Sierra. It's not pretty, but they have Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly. We know those are their two studs. Zach Gallen's the favorite for Cy Young. We'll talk about him in a little bit. And Merrill Kelly's been a stud, but the big drop off, it's just ugly from there, guys. Zach Davies, we know Zach Davies. It's one of my boys that I like to fade. And then you got Henry and you got Ryan Nelson. I mean, there's just three starting pitchers that are just awful. Not the worst in the league, not Jordan Lyles status, but they're not good. So they do need some help with that. Just to have someone stabilize the back end of that rotation would be helpful. But their offense, they were actually even better, but they kind of slumped a little bit to end the first half. 11th best WRC plus and the top 10 in OPS and ISO power. So they got a good offense. What you don't know about them, or maybe some of you do that follow them, they have the third most stolen bases in the league at 93. They also have the second best defense in the league. So you're running the bases well, stealing a lot of bases, which is huge. A single all of a sudden is now a double. You're in scoring position, and then you have the second best defense. So you're not, creating all these extra outs for the other team. And with that, and then if you can get decent, decent performance from your bullpen consistently, and somehow find a third or fourth starter, I mean, guys, they are legit. So the question is this team legit? Can they keep it going? As long as Corbin Carroll and they can stay healthy, I do like him. I mean, Corbin Carroll's unbelievable. Not only is he a runaway rookie of the year, he's in the MVP conversation right now. He has been, let's see, 366 on base percentage, 289 average, 18 home runs, and 26 stolen bases. We are talking about a guy who could easily go 30 and 30, 30 bombs, 30 stolen bases in his rookie season. Just mind boggling. But I think the D-backs are legit. Um, the Dodgers are probably going to add some pieces. We'll talk about them a little later, but I do think they're going to add some pieces and eventually win this division. I know it hasn't always looked pretty for the Dodgers right now. So I think the D-backs will be, like a wild card spot, but I like what I see. They're fun to watch too. So if you ever get to watch them, I would turn it on because, yeah, stolen bases, defense, young team, gotta love it. My voice is going out. See, still goes out, I guess. Can't fight this sickness. Anyways, that's the D-backs. I like them. That's my third best surprise team. Now, the fourth and final surprise team is the Walker Texas Rangers. That is right. 52 and 39 on the season. They have the lead in the AL West. They are 2 games up on the Astros, and they are right there with the Rays and Braves as the best offense in the league. Number one WRC plus, number two OPS. Corey Seager, guys, he is earning his contract, and that was a humongous contract. 353 average, 413 on base percentage for Seager. Holy cow. They have 9 guys hitting 260 or better. Guys, like 9 guys are hitting 260 or better. That means all of them would be like hitting 3 or 4 for us, for the Mariners. For us, that's my team. Adolis Garcia having a hell of a year. He's in the home run derby. Just watched him hit. 261 with 23 bombs this year. I just think they're loaded on offense right now. They got a rookie and Young, and Jonah Heim. They got all these guys that are just performing really well. Marcus Simeon at the top of the order. Their bullpen is freaking awful. They added Aroldis Chapman. I don't know if it matters that much. They have the 25th best ERA in the bullpen, 4.54, 14th best Sierra. So they are due for some positive regression. It's 3.91 Sierra, but they're still just not very good. Aroldis Chapman will help the back end of that, but man, those middle innings when that starter comes out, it can get ugly. Now, speaking of starters, this has been the big surprise of their team. They have the third best ERA in Major League Baseball, with their starting rotation at 3.71. They have a three-headed monster that is just dominating right now. Not dominating, that might be a big word, but they're playing really well. Eovaldi, John Gray, and Dane Dunning. Now, I don't know if Dane Dunning can keep this up the whole time, but Nathan Eovaldi has turned a corner. He is a much better pitcher than he was in Boston. I don't know what happened, but they all have ERAs under 3.3. That is freaking impressive. That's a great three-headed monster to have, especially when you go to the playoffs. Jacob DeGrom done for the year. Obviously, he always is. Why they paid him is beyond me, but that's another conversation. Anyways, they do have the 18th best Sierra as a starting pitching rotation, so 4.38. That means they're due for some regression. Some of that is Dane Dunning. I think John Gray's due for some regression too. Eovaldi's been a stud, especially on the road. My goodness, he's been good. So, with between their starting rotation, the hitting, that could carry him to a division win. If they just add one or two arms in the bullpen, that would just be a huge help. And I would give them, if you ask if they're legit in regards to making the playoffs. I mean, that's to me, that's a no question. Now for the division, I'm torn on it. I'm going to be honest with you. When the Astros get Altuve and Jordan Alvarez back, they're only 2 games back. I just think they have a more complete team than the Rangers. They don't have a glaring weakness like the bullpen of the Rangers is. So I would probably lean Astros as much as I hate those cheating freaking people in Houston. But I would lean Astros probably in the division, unless the Rangers can add some bullpen help. So I would say legit for the playoffs, yes. Legit for the division, I lean Astros. It sucks, but I gotta say it. So, anyways, that is the fourth and final surprise team that we're gonna talk about. Now, let's talk about those disappointing teams. The first team is the New York Mets. Oh, poor Met fans. They are struggling this year. 42 and 48 on the season. 18 and a half games back of the Braves. 7.5 games or 7 games back of the last wild card spot. And they have like 4 teams in front of them too. Um, why did they think they could pay two really, really old pitchers that equal the age of 80 a ton of money and then win a World Series? I said this at the beginning of the season. I don't get it. They have the highest payroll in the major leagues and they're 6 games under 500. 27th on defense. That's not good either. They are killing themselves right now. The bullpen, 21st in ERA, 4.12, 20th in Sierra, 4.03. So it's pretty legit. They're really missing Edwin Diaz. That ex Mariner, man, I miss that trumpet, those trumpets going on as he comes in. But man, they are struggling in the bullpen. Rotation, unlike the Rangers, like I just mentioned, the Mets starting pitchers have nobody under 3.3 ERA right now. That's right. Senga, Verlander, and Scherzer. It's just not pretty, guys. That's all they have. And then they got Carrasco and Peterson, who are freaking awful. They're just bad. Senga has been hit and miss. He's had some really good games. Verlander's been good at home. Scherzer has over a 4 ERA. He's been okay. He's been fine. I'd say about average. Um, can Verlander and Scherzer stay healthy? I don't know. Senga hasn't played a full major league season yet, coming over from Japan. So they got question marks up and down this entire roster. Bad defense, bad bullpen, hit and miss starting rotation. Their offense has been decent now. They moved up to 10th best WRC plus, but hitting wise, guys, they're kind of boomer bust. Unlike the Reds, who I said have 6 guys hitting 270 or higher, and the Rangers have like 9, the Mets have one over 270. One. Tommy Pham is the guy, too. Out of all the guys they pay, it's Tommy Pham. It's just a weird team, guys. I would hate to be a Mets fan because Mets fan, there's not really a direction, honestly. Like, I don't know if they're buyers, if they're sellers. They paid a ton of people a ton of money. You kind of have to go for it at this point. But 7 games back of a wild card spot, yeah, at best they could sneak into the last wild card spot, but this team's not good enough to win in the playoffs at all. So I just don't get it. I don't know where they're heading, but so are they legit or can they turn it around? My answer is no, absolutely not. I don't think they have a chance. Like I said, the best case scenario is they get the third wild card spot and piddle off in the playoffs. So that is sorry, Mets fans, but that's what it is. So that is the first disappointing team. Now the second disappointing team is the St. Louis Cardinals, guys. 38 and 52 on the season. You know what's weird about this is I am so used to this franchise winning. So before I talk about all their weaknesses and where they struggle, this team has consistently won for many, many years. So this is weird to see. But it's rebuild time in St. Louis. And I don't know if they do a full rebuild. I don't know exactly how good their farm system is, but let's dive into the numbers a little bit. Bullpen 24th in ERA at 4.48, 17th in Sierra at 3.96. So due for a little positive regression. And then you go starters almost as bad as it gets. I mean, this is like Reds territory, but worse probably. 25th in ERA, 4.74, 26th in Sierra, which means their crappiness is legit. That's what that says. Offense, 6th in WRC plus. They have a good offense. It's a little inconsistent versus righties and lefties, but for the most part, their offense doesn't really matter because their pitching is so freaking bad. Also, 22nd in defensive rating, so in fielding. That's not good either. In my opinion, I'm obviously not the GM of the Cardinals, but they need to trade Jack Flaherty. He's been so inconsistent. If they can get some sort of value from him, I wouldn't mind that. Adam Wainwright needs to not pitch again. I think they did put him down, or they did something. I don't know. I didn't read the article, but he needs to not pitch again. I like Adam Wainwright. He's been an unbelievable pitcher in his career. This is not a knock against him, but he needs to stop pitching in the major leagues. It's just not pretty. And then you got guys like Steven Matz and Miles. If I could walk 5,000 miles. Anyways, Miles Mikolas, guys, he's awful too. They're both inconsistent, not awful. But you just can't win anything when you have Jack Flaherty, Adam Wainwright, Mikolas, and Steven Matz. Are you kidding me? Like, that's not going to get you anywhere at all. So their lone bright spot, let's talk positive real quick. Jordan Montgomery. He's been good, the lefty. 3.23 ERA. He's pitched really well. He had a little speed bump in the middle of the season or middle of the first half, and then he's really turned it on again. So, I like Jordan Montgomery, and maybe that's the guy you trade. Try to get as much value as you can out of Jordan and get some, almost ready prospects. I don't know. But for me, the Cardinals, this just isn't their year. You can't win every single year, even though they have been. So that is my second most disappointing team. The third most disappointing team is the San Diego Fathers. That's right, the San Diego Padres, 43 and 47, 6 games back of the third wild card spot. That's right. Remember, there are 6 teams in each league that make the playoffs. They're not one of them in the NL. Before I get in on this team, let me just vent real quick. Am I the only one who thinks Juan Soto is overrated? Like, I feel like I am. He had a 242 average with 27 bombs last year. Okay. 265 average this year with 15 home runs. So say he hits 260, 270 with 30 bombs this year, or 25, 30 bombs again. Okay, that's a decent year. That's a good year. We're talking about a guy who's making over 20 million a year right now. I know they don't have a huge contract with him yet. He is due for free agency, I think, in a year or two. He's a bad defender. I get what he does. He walks a ton. He breaks records with how many walks he gets. He is unbelievable when it comes to that. Do you really pay a guy 300 million in his next contract because he walks a lot? Or do you want a guy who can actually hit 40 bombs a year, who can hit near 300? And I hit 240 some years. I just don't get it. He was really good in Washington. Could he turn it around? Is he a pure hitter? Yes, he really is. I thought he was unbelievable there. But lately, I just don't think people are really talking about how much he's kind of gone down since he left the Nationals. So that's just my little tidbit of information. I'll be curious to see how much people pay him for a guy that, yeah, he gets on base. For this Padres team, though, that doesn't have a great lineup right now, other than the top few, getting on base might not help because nobody can hit you in. So, anyways, that was my venting little rant on Juan Soto. 12th best bullpen ERA at 3.82, but the 21st best Sierra. So, average, we can just say in the middle average at best. Rotation, sixth best ERA at 3.76. That's their strength now. And the ninth best Sierra at 4.15. Joe Musgrove and Blake Snell is as good of a 1-2 combo as there is right now, especially with the form that they are in. Holy cow. We're going to talk about Snell later. Also, Michael Waka has pitched really well. Waka Waka. Um, the weird part is that their weakness is probably their offense. Honestly, offense and bullpen. Their offense was supposed to be not the opposite of a weakness. It was supposed to carry them. Bogarts has been a disappointment. Juan Soto is having a decent year. 265 and 15 bombs, getting on base. That's a good year. I was talking about overrated in regards to him being like a top 5 player in the league because I don't think he is. But yeah, Bogarts, Machado's kind of having a down year, and then the problem with their lineup is it's so thin. Once you get past those first 4 or 5 guys who aren't even performing like they should, then you get to that bottom of the order. It's not pretty. So, I are the can they turn it around? Yes, because I think they will spend and try to get some help, and maybe that's in my opinion, I think they need to add a reliever, and they need to add a decent, number 6, number 7 hitter that can really kind of extend that lineup. But these stars can pick it up at any point. If Manny Machado gets hot at the same time. Bogarts and Tatis. We didn't even talk about Tatis. They have guys that can get hot, and they can possibly carry him along with that starting rotation. So I think they have a chance to make the playoffs still in the wild card. I don't think they are a threat to the World Series at all, though. I really don't. It's weird. Everyone was picking them to, and I thought they actually were legit this year, but they're gonna have to win it with starting pitching, which is kind of weird. But anyways, that is the third and final most disappointing team that I have. Now, let's talk a little MVP race. All right, these MVP races are not that exciting. I'm not gonna lie. So let's talk NL MVP first. Ronald Acuna. His odds right now, I saw on DraftKings, it's minus 330, or you can bet any other player at plus 230. That's right, you get the whole rest of the field, including guys like Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Luis Arias, Corbin Carroll. There's just no bet here, guys. If you did watch our preview videos at the beginning of the season, one of my best bets for the NL East division was Ronald Acuna to win the NL MVP Obviously, much better odds than they are right now. So no bet there. AL MVP. Shohei Otani is minus 800 to win. Any other player plus 500. Now, you might say, why would you ever even think about making a bet? Let me just say one thing about this. Not saying I'm going to make this bet. If you are someone who thinks Otani is going to get traded, especially to the Dodgers or an NL team, I mean, plus 500 any other player, if he gets traded like in the next week or two, if they actually pull the trigger, if they get traded, you're any other player plus 500 bet. If they get traded to NL, I mean, that's a lock. You just win a plus 500 lock because you get any other player. Now, obviously, if Otani does not get traded, you will lose your bet. It is what it is. Or maybe he gets hurt in the next couple weeks. So it's not a terrible idea. I'm not recommending you just go out and do it. Just something to think about. Maybe you have some inside information that I don't. I've heard lots of different things about if Otani will be traded or not. Angels would be smart to get rid of him. They need to get some players for him. So, anyways, that's the MVP race. Not that exciting. I just wanted to mention that about the Otani and the AL part. But now, what is really exciting, and I'm going to talk about, let's talk some pitchers in that Cy Young race. All right, let's talk about some interesting races now. And that's the AL and NL Cy Young. Both leagues are wide open. Let's first pull up those AL Cy Young odds. There we go. We got Framber Valdez at plus 200, guys. He has a 2.5 ERA, 26% K rate. Kevin Gausman, 3.03 ERA, 32.6% K rate. I'm getting to my point here. Garrett Cole, 2.85 ERA, 25.8% K rate. And then my boy. That's where we're going to end it. Shane McClanahan, 2.53 ERA, 26% K rate. Those four guys are super close. I mean, it's going to change start to start. And then McClanahan also has the most wins in the American League with 11. He may end up on the best team in the American League. You never know. Probably a better team than Houston up there. So why would you not take the value here at plus 850? I love McClanahan right here at plus 850. Like I said, any of those top four could win it. I don't see the bottom three winning it, to be honest. They've all had good years, but those top four are just too impressive. So in my opinion, for AL Cy Young, I would bet Shane McClanahan. Let's move over to the National League now. Pull up those odds. So we got Zach Gallen leading the way. He has a 3.04 ERA, 26.5% K rate. Guys, I got to say one thing about him. He has a 5.08 ERA on the road. That is insane. I don't think any Cy Young winner has ever had a 5 ERA on the road. That's just my guess. I don't know that. I have not fact checked it. Spencer Strider, 3.44 ERA, 39% K rate. Clayton Kershaw, 2.55 ERA and 27.7% K rate. And then the number four again, the red arrow, Blake Snell. Did I make fun of him at the beginning of the year? I absolutely did. But man, has he turned it around. He has a 2.85 ERA and a 32.4% K rate. He has the most Ks in the National League. Zero. Listen to me on this one. 0.87 ERA in the entire month of June. I just am blown away. And in 11 innings so far in July that he's thrown, 0 earned runs given up. He had a 46.5% K rate in June. 46.5, guys. He has been unbelievable, lights out. I don't know why he's plus 950 right now. I know he had a slow start to the season, but other than his wins are definitely behind. He has 6 wins, but if he ends up blowing away the competition in regards to ERA and Ks, how do you not give it to a guy like him? Like, if he can continue this path. So he's just a guy that has found his form, found his Cy Young form at that because he's already won a Cy Young before. And the only person that Kershaw could win it, but Strider could be a decent one too. I don't know if I trust Zach Gallen, like I said, for a guy that only plays well at home or pitches well at home. So, anyways, I like Blake Snell in this situation. That's just my opinion. I can't believe it's coming out of my mouth. I used to literally call him like Smelly Snelly because he was so bad at the beginning of the year, but he's figured out his walks and he is striking out a ton of batters. So, just something to keep in mind. Now, it's time. Let's go over to my best future bets for the second half of the baseball season. All right, it is time to talk some bets. That's right. So I got three best future bets and a couple leans I'll give you. So the first one, Blake Snell to win the NL Cy Young. We just talked about it. Plus 950. He's been the best starting pitcher in the major leagues in the last month and a half. I mean, what else do you want me to say? He has the second lowest ERA in the NL. He only has 6 wins. I get that. It's the only thing going against him. He has the most Ks in the National League. Plus 950 is incredible value for him, in my opinion. So that is my first best future bet for the second half of the season. The next one we have not talked about. It is the Orioles to win the AL East at plus 400. Now, I didn't talk about them in my surprise team because I wanted to talk about them in the bets recap. They could have been a surprise team, but I did expect them to have a decent year this year. So it's not as much of a surprise. But here's the deal with the Orioles. They're like 2 games back right now of the Rays since the start of May. So if you take out that first month of April where the Rays just went absolutely crazy, the Orioles are 35 and 26. The Rays 35 and 29. I mean, these teams have played even. Um, I don't think there's that much difference between the Orioles and Rays, except that the Orioles will actually probably spend money to add somebody, and that brings me to the next point. For this to happen, please, for the love of God, add a starting pitcher, Orioles, because you guys need one badly. Tyler Wells has been awesome. He really has. He's been great. I just don't trust the Gibsons, the Bradishes, the Kramer. I don't trust them. They're just not. That's going to be hard to win an AL East with those as your starting pitchers. Please add another piece with Tyler Wells. Maybe you guys have one in AAA. I don't know. I haven't checked the farm system and all that, but that would be very helpful. Batista and Cano, what a 1-2 punch in the bullpen. I mean, that's as good as it gets. It really is. Batista's like unhittable. So plus 400 for the Orioles to win the AL East. The Yankees are down this year. Blue Jays continue to beat themselves up and be inconsistent. I just like the Orioles to possibly win it. They got a lot of young guys. Adding a veteran bat who's pretty solid would be nice, but starting pitcher would be very, very helpful. So, anyways, they are the best team in the AL East since the start of May. Just saying. Anyways, that's my second best bet. Third one, we already talked about this one too. Shane McClanahan to win an AL Cy Young at plus 850. It's a value bet. He's just as good as the other top three guys. That's what a value bet is. Like we've already talked about the numbers. I like McClanahan on a good team like the Rays to possibly win the Cy Young. Now, two leans I didn't actually make official as a future bet here, but I like the Guardians to win the division and the Reds to win the division. They are both plus 130. The Guardians have like a half game lead right now, or they're tied with the Twins. Why are the Twins minus 140 and the Guardians are plus 130? I mean, this is a value bet too. The Guardians have proven they can win the division. They won it last year. The Twins, with their very inconsistent hit a home run or bust kind of offense, and then Sonny Gray kind of having some negative regression, why are we counting out the Guardians all of a sudden? I don't get the odds. So I like that. And then the Reds to win the division plus 130. We talked about the Reds earlier. Um, do they need some help with arms? Yes, but they're competing against the Brewers who can't hit at all. And the Reds are one of the top hitting teams, one of the most fun teams to watch. Them and the Dbacks are really fun to watch for me. But so those are two leans, Guardians and Reds to win their own divisions. But those are my three best bets. Hopefully, you guys, leave a comment below. I'd love to see what you guys have for bets. There's a lot of options out there, a lot of division winners. I thought about the Astros to win the AL West, but they're at minus 115. That just wasn't great. I don't like holding future bets that are minus anything, to be honest. But and not even really around even money, which is why I didn't make the Guardians or Reds an official bet. So, anyways, that's what I got. That was a lot of fun talking baseball. Let's go over that bets recap real quick now. And there we go. Snell to win NL Cy Young plus 950. Orioles to win that big old AL East division at plus 400. Shane McClanahan to win AL Cy Young. That's right. If you want to sprinkle a little bit on that AL MVP, any other player other than Otani, hoping he gets traded, you could do that. But yeah, those are my three best bets, guys. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for all of you that actually listened and followed all the way through. Hope you enjoyed it. Just talking some baseball. 'Cause it's a week off. What else are we gonna do? Bet on like badminton or ping pong? So we're talking baseball. We're gonna be back Thursday night. It's gonna come out Friday morning for the Friday games when it comes back. I can't wait. Enjoy the break. Enjoy the All Star game. All the stuff that comes. Thank you guys for watching. We'll talk to you later.